Hello and a warm welcome to Federal special program Capital Beat. Just ahead of the Lok Sabha elections, Election Commission of India has issued an advisory warning the political parties not to make an appeal on the basis of caste or religion. Election Commission has also urged the political parties not to insult the rivals. Now, the basic appeal not to make any sort of statements which are based on caste, on religion. Election Commission has also gone ahead and said that references of temples, mosques, churches should not be used for the poll propaganda. So what does it mean really as far as the Election Commission is concerned? Because earlier all these things were categorized under a moral censure. So how is this advisory different from the earlier ones? That is question number one. The second question, which everybody is wondering about, in 2019, if you remember, Ashok Lavasa, who was the election commissioner at that time, had pointed out certain violations in the Model Code of Conduct. And after that, he had to face the music. So supposing if any BJP leader or Prime Minister Narendra Modi uses references of the Ram Temple, because that was a huge political program put out by the BJP. So will Election Commission take action against the BJP or PM Modi? Or is this advisory going to be used by the Election Commission to target the opposition leaders? All these are worries which are concerning everyone since the time this advisory has been out. Joining me now is former Chief Election Commissioner CEC Quraishi. So thank you so much for joining. And so would you rate this advisory, though it's a routine advisory ahead of any election, Election Commission comes out with such kind of an advisory. But how do you think that this advisory is different from the earlier ones?
I don't think it is any different from the earlier ones. It is a routine activity and nothing unusual about it. It is nothing but a reiteration of the Model Code of Conduct. All these things which are mentioned here are in the Model Code. No personal attack, no appeal to caste, community, religion, use of places of worship, etc. They're all in the Model Code. Now, it is important to know, which many people miss out, that there is nothing in the Model Code which is not there in different laws of the land. In the Representation of People Act and the IPC, and there is also a special act of 1988 which especially prohibits use of religious places for political and election campaigning. So all these are part of the Model Code. The difference is, under all other acts, there is the punishment. In 88 Act of religious places, punishment is 5 years imprisonment. Right now, under the Model Code only provide urgency. It is summary procedure, and there a notice is given to the other party to reply within 24 hours or 36 hours, and they do it. Whereas when we file FIRs under the various relevant laws, it takes years for the legal process to show results, 5 years, 7 years, 10 years, but then people forget. So that is the difference. So it is nothing but a reiteration, but timely. And you said as you said, the implication could be serious. But the last one was issued in January or February of 2023. I don't remember whether there was any election before, just after that. So the latest before this was in 2023, January or February. So, but let us see.
But the appeals which Election Commission has spoken about, that no political party should make an appeal on the basis of caste and religion. Now, what does that mean politically? Now, opposition keeps talking about the caste census. Say, for example, parties like RJD, Congress, they're talking about caste census. So will they not be able to talk about the caste census? And also when it comes to religion, supposing the BJP leaders or PM Modi talks about the Ram Temple consecration ceremony in his campaigns, so will that be considered as an offense by the political parties?
Yeah, actually, it levels the ground, because both the parties will get affected. You are absolutely right. You flagged it correctly. that one party will be talking of caste, the other party may be talking of the Ram temple. So that advantage gets neutralized because they will both be prevented from talking about these issues. But let us see whether Election Commission has issued the guidelines, all right, but how it enforces them. Because the impact lies in its enforcement, and that too even-handed enforcement. Earlier you mentioned Shoklavasa. Just a slight correction there. He did not point out the violation. The complaints were made by the opposition party,
Yes, right.
and he found that there was ground in those complaints, and he wanted a notice to be issued, just a notice that they could have waited for the replies. So, which was not taken note of, and in fact, he was hounded. His dissenting note was also not even taken on record. So that is a very ugly history of our electoral history.
The main worry is that the election commission might use this to target the opposition only, because normally what we have seen that the complaints against the BJP leaders, they don't get registered too much, or the election commission looks a little lenient towards them. So the worry is that since the time this advisory has come, that how if election commission uses it only to target the opposition?
Yeah, but Niloji, that is speculative. Let's hope election commission is not selective. Let's hope that they are even-handed, which is the most important thing, because level playing field is the key buzzword, the key word which we use in the entire election process, uh, particularly in the model code. So therefore, we will see. And in any case, public is smart. If a commission acts neutrally, everyone notices that and appreciates that. When they are partisan, everybody notices that. So therefore, we are yet to see how they behave.
Right. But this particular point, which the Election Commission has mentioned, that no temples, mosques, churches, and gurdwaras or any place of worship are to be used for election propaganda or electioneering. Now, what kind of a message is this really? And especially for BJP, and I'm coming back again and again to this Ram Temple reference, because this has been a big political issue with the BJP, and they've designed their entire campaign, in the run up to the Lok Sabha elections, carrying the message of Ram door to door. So this kind of a narrative which a political party like BJP has been putting up. So if this advisory comes from the Election Commission, so does BJP really need to think about the way it's unfolding its narrative?
Well, I cannot speak for the BJP. I cannot anticipate how they will react. But I can only guess that, for instance, the act that we were talking about, 1988 Act, which prohibited use of religious places. What was the background at 1988? I think it was a build-up to the Ram Temple, and to prevent any escalation on that account, the law Parliament passed this act, which has been reiterated. And now that the Ram Temple has been built, of course, it is a reality, and BJP can surely take advantage of this. And if it has been prevented and preempted from doing this, it's a very significant instruction and regulation, and very timely, I would say, because the election is just a couple of weeks away.
Right. But will Election Commission gather enough courage to take any kind of action or even a notice to Prime Minister Narendra Modi? Because even yesterday, when he was in West Bengal, he spoke about Ram Temple. He spoke about Sandesh Khali. So the point is that what is the guarantee that he will not repeat his references on the Ram Temple or make any sort of illustrations on the Ram Temple in his campaign? So will Election Commission really wake up, serve a notice to him?
Well, let we as a nation pray for a strength to the Election Commission to prove their mettle, that which is expected of them under the Constitution. Constitution has given them all the power. In fact, what happened in 2019 was just the opposite, and which became an ugly chapter of our electoral history, when Again, two top leaders, 5 complaints of model code violation came. The Election Commission sat on it for 25 days. And one of the commissioners, Ashok Lavasa, as you mentioned, he kept on protesting. He said that this is a fit case for issuing notice. But even his views were not taken on record. And then what is worse, the Supreme Court had to come down heavily on the Election Commission that you have no right to sit over it. What the hell are you doing sitting over these cases? Take a decision one way or the other. Nobody said that take a decision in a particular way, but take a decision. Immediately, then suddenly after the reprimand, the commission, the remnant of the commission, or maybe all three, they sat together and cleared the leaders of the allegation, gave them a clean sheet. So now you would notice that there was hardly any debate on the clean sheet. Only some people questioned that if it was a fit case in the eyes of even one of the commissioners, Mr. Lavasa, how come clean sheet was given? But nobody goes into the merit of the judgment. They were right to, but not deciding it for 25 days, then letting the election be over. Then what is the point? What were they trying to prove? For which Election Commission got such a dent to its image, from which it is yet to recover.
Absolutely. But Mr. Quraishi, how stern can be the action of the Election Commission, given the fact that even in yesterday's advisory, Election Commission has said that the star campaigners or the candidates against whom notices have been issued in the past, and if they repeat their offense, if they make some kind of a derogatory statement or some kind of a private insult, then they will face a stern action. Now, what could that stern action be? So that, it's a lesson for the other politicians as well. Or the
Well, as I mentioned to you, when we issue a model code notice, the only punishment under the model code, if found correct, is censure, which to many people means nothing. That is why people call Election Commission toothless. They call model code toothless, which is not the case. Censure is a conviction and has no appeal. Only thing is that it doesn't have a jail sentence. Doesn't have a cash fine. However, the Election Commission in the last 5-7 years has been using a weapon, our ultimate weapon of Article 324, by excluding the leaders from the campaign. That for 2 days you will not enter the state, you will not campaign, which I think is a very serious and important punishment. So that the one thing that the Election Commission can do is stop the leaders from campaigning. Imagine the top two leaders being stopped from campaigning. What kind of a message it sends and what damage it does to the campaign. So therefore, that is one. Secondly, as I said, that model code is always accompanied by the relevant laws. It is not that we just file it is a violation of the law also, which in 99.9% cases it is. FIR is also registered. So now in the case of misuse of religious places, punishment is 5 years imprisonment. Now, will they file an FIR? So we'll see.
But Mr. Qureshi, given the fact that Election Commission's image seems to have dented quite a lot, and especially after this whole campaign on EVMs, which has been spoken about by so many citizen groups now, and people have been very, very vocal about the fact that Election Commission has just closed its eyes. They just don't want to listen to these citizen voices who are saying that you should return to the ballot paper. I'm not getting into the controversy, but given the fact that this advisory comes at a time when Election Commission has been facing allegations of the fact that Election Commission is sleeping, it is in a slumber, it's not acting. So this particular advisory being issued where it's appealing the political parties not to make any statements on the basis of caste or religion, not to use temples or gurdwaras or churches for the poll propaganda. Do you think that this advisory would be considered as an act of audacity by the Election Commission?
Well, it is an act of propriety, I would say, because all that they have done is something which they have been doing all along.
It's an act of propriety, you are saying, but not an act of audacity as well?
Well, no, well, in this context, some people might think so. Some people might say it is audacious. How dare they? All that they're doing is showing you the rule book. So what's wrong with that? That is extremely proper and appropriate. And the nation should pray for their health and strength to them. Let's see. But your reference to their silence on EVM, there I think all that I've been saying, that number one, there's a demand of the civil society to go back to ballot paper is not practical. It's not going to work. Already Supreme Court had given a verdict, if I remember right, when 23 parties have gone, that there is no going back to the ballot paper. VVPAT is an improvement on EVM. The issue remains is that how many VVPATs should be counted from how many boxes. Currently, 5 boxes out of a Vidhan Sabha constituency, which means about 250 to 300 boxes, 5 will be counted as per the Supreme Court order. Now, which are randomly selected. So, I have been suggesting an election commission actually should have come out more openly. They have issued what the FAQ, which they updated recently. So, but I was told by the critic that some of the questions still have not been answered in the FAQ. One major being that whether the VVPAT comes between the ballot unit and the control unit. So whether that is controlling the software, which is not correct. I checked up with one of the 5 experts. Actually, the central command unit in a broadcast mode issues instructions to both the machine, the ballot machine and the VVPAT. So all these things need to be explained. And who else but the election commission? They should call all party meeting. That's the best way. Even if it takes hours, they need to answer that. And
but if that is the case, if you yourself are saying that election commission should answer, they should hold an all-party meeting, explain things on the VVPAT, and if the election commission is not doing, then they will be, there'll be a continuous accusation that election commission is not acting, it's not trying to be transparent, because it is the election commission's duty to repose the trust in the people. After all, it's a right to vote.
Yes, correct. In fact, I have written and said many times that the mistake which election commission is making, I know my conviction that they have nothing to hide. At least the present dispensation has nothing to hide. But then they should communicate better, because they have a defense. They should come out and openly. They cannot say that we have replied 10 years ago on such and such date, and then please keep referring to that. If the issue is live today, you have to keep on rebutting it repeatedly. So I think the issue of how many to be counted, that is still to be claimed. And the desperate solution is, even if there is no going back to the ballot paper, according to me. But even if you have to count 100% slips, so what? And I read somewhere some months ago that no, that's not possible, because it will take 5-6 days of counting, which is rubbish. Because ballot paper, which was of the size of the newspaper, with 40, 50, 70 candidates, where it took 2, 3 minutes, 5 minutes for us to know where is Neelu Vyas, whether she got the vote and Quraishi got the vote, all that. Now, that counting, I as a returning officer, many times, we took just 12 hours, 14 hours, 24 hours. Here, this slip, VVPAT slip is this size. Now, to say it will take 5-6 days to count, one name only, Neelu Vyas, it goes here, Quraishi, it goes into another basket. It is 6 hours job, 8 hours job. Even if it is 24-hour job, so what? The whole nation.
You are saying that if 100% VVPAT slips are counted, it will be just about additional of like 6-7 hours, not more than that.
Exactly. Or even if 12 hours. So what? Because the whole nation waits for 2.5 months from the first day of poll to the day of counting. So because they want fair election. My concern is, Neelu, that while it is easy to convince political parties, and we have you to call all party meetings, it takes 4, 5 hours, 6 hours, we hear them, they hear us, and we come to a conclusion. They are reasonable people, so are we. Now, if it gets into the mind of the janta, the people, that EVM and the kind of hate mail I keep getting on my Twitter or X all the time, whatever be the context, whatever the message I'm sending, somebody remind me of EVM, ban EVM, ban EVM. So if it has got into public mind, it will be very difficult to take it out from there. Therefore, I can't say preemptive because it's already too late for preemptive, but at least corrective action should be taken now by addressing a national level press conference or call all party meeting, and once they come to the conclusion, and here I have a solution. One is that account 100%.
What is the hesitation? Why Election Commission is not doing it? It's very simple, as you are also explaining. You've been a former chief election commissioner yourself, to call an all-party meeting to just talk to the political parties, remove their doubts. Is it so difficult? And why is Election Commission not doing it? Is there,
Yes.
do you sense a foul game somewhere? Because that is what the fear of everyone is.
No, I would not say foul game, but tactically it's a wrong thing to do, not to communicate, because, the power which is with me, if I don't solve it, if I don't meet you, you come to me with a grievance and I do not meet you, then you will go to the court. So that means I'm transferring my power to the court. So all these parties went to the Supreme Court, and then Supreme Court directs you to do this, do that, then you do the same thing. Why? The power is originally with you, given by the Constitution. So therefore, listening to these parties, calling them over, solving the problem before the election, it should be the concern of the Election Commission. If they are not doing it, I think it's an error of judgment. It's a communication is extremely important, and they should communicate.
But Mr.
And
Quraishi,
by the way, I have an innovative solution also to avoid 100% count. At the moment, under Supreme Court order, 5 machines are counted. And they are randomly selected. Now, randomly selected will not give you the right result. I say instead of 5, pick up only 4. The top 2 runners-up are given the option to select any machine. Look, I'm suspicious of this machine. Please count the suspicious machine. Now, counting 100 innocent machines on one hand and counting one suspicious machine, where there is a world of difference. So if the suspicious machine is counted and it is found okay, that will clinch the issue. So that means, and I'm giving this right only to the top 2 runners up, because they are the guys who will be affected if there is cheating. And the entire country knows cricket. They love cricket and they know DRS system. A team is allowed 2 appeals. So it is not that 10% LBW decision randomly will be referred to the third umpire. Only the doubtful decision will be referred. So doubtful machines should be counted. Give it to these 2 people. 4 machines counted, but it will achieve 100% satisfaction.
Right. But, after this whole conversation, I'm really confused about the attitude of the Election Commission. On the one hand, it issues an advisory, which it always does before the elections. And, it tries to set the stage for a very ethical political discourse by issuing such advisories that don't make appeals on the basis of caste, religion, don't make references to gurdwaras or churches. But on the other hand, the most the question which confuses everyone about Election Commission is the fact on EVMs, and they are not coming clean on VVPAT. So what is the kind of image which Election Commission really has to suffer at the moment? Because will there not be doubts about the Election Commission?
Well, I think instead of preempting that, let us wait. I hope if they have been, as you said, audacious enough to issue these guidelines now, they will be equally audacious to take even-handed decisions. So let us wait and see what kind of decision they take. But they should know, as you and I know and everybody knows, that whatever the Election Commission does, it is open to the public to make an assessment. When we do good things, people appreciate that. When we do doubtful things, everyone notices that. Right. So the reputation is in our hand. And mind you, the reputation takes years to build and minutes to demolish.
That's true. Right. So my last question to you, sir, is, and again, I'm trying to clarify for the sake of the viewers again, that since the Election Commission has said that not to make any references on gurdwaras, churches, temples, do not make any appeals on the basis of caste and religion. Just trying to clarify my last bit with you, that if leaders like Tejasvi Yadav or Nitish Kumar, or for that matter, any opposition party tries to rake up the caste census issue, will that be considered an offense? That's question number one. And second, if there are references to the Ram temple, will that be an offense?
Well, probably the wording is that any appeal in the name of religion or caste is a criminal act. So, I don't know. People are very ingenious if they refer to caste, but without making an appeal to the voters that because of this reason vote for me. So, that kind of a technicality can be created, which will be subjected to various interpretation. So, politicians are smart. They try and find a way around the rules and laws. So let us see, but we only hope that there will be healthy campaign.
Can Election Commission be smarter than the politicians, or the politicians will outsmart them?
Well, it depends on the election commission. Actually, has to have a backbone. And most of the time it has had once or twice when it did not come up to the expectation. It was there for everybody to see. So I only hope, I have full faith in the current dispensation. The chief, particularly Rajiv, is a very conscientious person, strong man, and a very bright, intelligent person. And I'm sure his third colleague will also be appointed by then. So these three gentlemen, they are very smart. They are among the brightest civil servants. So they will surely come out with flying colors. That's my prayer for them.
Okay. So we'll have to wait and watch how things unfold, and especially once the campaign builds up. Now everyone is waiting when the dates for the polls will be announced. Thank you so much, Mr. Quraishi, for joining on The Federal. And one appeal to the viewers who are watching this interview: subscribe to our channel, send us your feedback, and stay tuned to The Federal. Thank you.
Subscribe to The Federal's YouTube page for more news and updates.